Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife video for you today. Part collection update, part talking about Tanto blades and why I've grown to like them a lot. So we're starting off here in front of you. This is the Civivi Brazen, a very new Tanto out. It's about 50 bucks, D2 steel, Civivi, all the great things you expect, ceramic bearings, all that kind of cool stuff. I have this out here first because I'm going to show some more Tantos here in a moment. But while I have this one out, let's talk about why I like Tantos, why you may want one, why they make them, why you may not want one. So Tanto kind of indicates, this kind of double angle blade. It's originally kind of a Japanese sort of design, was meant for like close quarters fighting, stuff like that. One of the primary benefits of it is you still get a pretty good piercing tip, and you can see it really well in this Brazen. Another reason why I brought it up, because it is a very thin blade stock, but it still has a pretty good tip on it. So it still has a really good piercing tip. And yeah, it was designed to really be like a close quarters fighting blade. I found some other benefits for it, but I used to be kind of talk about my journey with Tantos. I hated them when I first got into pocket knives. I didn't like them. I read too much on the internet about the disadvantages of them, and I didn't like them. To eventually I kind of liked the way some of them looked, so I became kind of Tanto indifferent, I guess you would call it. I didn't discount a knife because it was a Tanto. I didn't seek them out. Now, if I'm buying a knife that's available in multiple blade shapes and one of them is Tanto, it's almost always what I get. So I've talked about one advantage of them, that it does give you a more robust piercing tip. A second advantage is they do just look darn cool. That's part of the reason why I like them so much. A lot of them just look great. And another advantage I found of them, especially lately, and maybe why I've been into them more lately than not, is and it's kind of a weird thing, but I guess, if you're locked down in your house like a lot of us have been, you're ordering a lot of packages. Everybody is opening way more packages than they thought they would. I've always found that even just trying to use the tip of any knife, I'm an idiot like everybody else. I've occasionally cut through something. Even when I try and, choke up and be really careful, I slip through it. But on a Tanto, I just kind of do this and use that second tip, and it just slices through the tape. It doesn't touch anything else. I've found that to be much safer for me anyway, just kind of opening packages. And overall, I like to have mostly straight edge, so I do like that. Another advantage, obviously, is also if you're scraping stuff, it does make a fairly decent chisel up here. There are even, I've seen multiple places where people said they don't sharpen the forward part of the Tanto to leave it just a little bit dull for a scraping tool. I get why you would do that. But I really do think it's a great blade shape. I do really like Tantos a whole lot, but there are some disadvantages. Primarily, and the number one thing I get when I talk about Tantos is they're tough to sharpen. How do you sharpen it? How do you do that? I really haven't found them to be too bad. I have found it's better for me using a fixed angle sharpener where I can just go this way and then rotate the whole knife and then just go this way and sharpen it as two different blades. Basically, a lot of them are compound grinds as well, so you can see you might have to adjust the angle a little bit when you're doing the tip. They are more time consuming to sharpen. I don't think they're more difficult. If you screw it up, what you're going to do probably is round off that second tip, which is not ideal, but is it the end of the world with how the knife functions? Probably not. So I'm going to say I prefer using a fixed angle system on these, and I have not found it to be that hard. Other people may say it's easier to use freehand stones, and I think that's probably true. If you're really good with freehand stones, it probably is easier to use a stone and do it freehand. I'm not amazing with freehand stuff, so for me, the fixed angle is still the easiest, and just rotate it and change the angle and be careful with it. But yeah, you're going to see just as many people, probably people who know more than me, saying that it's easier on a freehand. If you're really good with a freehand, that's probably true. The other downside, there is no belly whatsoever on most of them. You'll see a couple of these have a little bit. So a lot of normal tasks, cutting on a board or something like that, they're not going to work as well. You can't obviously rock it. It's a whole thing. There's that. So they definitely do have their disadvantages. I'd say the one that people comment on the most, though, is the sharpening. But yeah, I still really like them. And like I said, I went from not liking them to not caring one way or the other to now, as you're going to see, I have a lot of them. And it happened in a pretty short order of time, I will say. So If you guys just want to talk about Tantos, why you like them, why you dislike them, comment down below. If you don't want to watch the rest, that's totally cool. I get it, but we're going to go into my collection now. This is the first one. Just got this, the Brazen. Awesome knife. Haven't even done a full review on it yet, but really do like it. Thumb stud. It's always nice to have a thumb stud instead of a flipper. It does have a flipper as well, but I don't think it needs it, but it does have a flipper as well if you want to use that. And just a very, very much a Tanto and D2 steel. It's a really great knife, and it's purple. So of course that's why I chose this one. It's purple. It is coming out in a drop point as well, but right now, just in this Tanto. We're going to go in like ascending price is how we're going to go here. So next up, a couple of cold steels. I'm going to bring them both out at once because I think if you're going to get a Tanto, cold steel does a really, really, really good job with them. We have the Airlight and the Recon 1. The Recon 1 comes in several different blade shapes. I think the Airlight comes in 2. I think it's this in a drop point. But, man, Cold Steel knows how to make a Tanto. They are some of my absolute favorites. The Airlight, about 85 bucks, AUS 10A steel. Just, 2 slabs of G10 and a triad lock. Nothing super fancy here. But I really do like this. As you can see, it's all filthy, so it does get some use. It's very chisel-y tip is what I like about these. I have used this for things. This actual one I just had to re-register my truck, and this is the knife I grabbed to scrape that pesky registration sticker off. I don't know how everybody else's are, but if you live in New York, they're a pain in the arse. This took care of it very, very quickly. Did a really good job with that. So if you are going to use it like a chisel tip, the Airlight is awesome at that. Really good ergos. And again, nothing fancy, just 2 slabs of G10 and a triad lock, but that's all you need. And this thing is this is a great knife. 85 bucks. Is it a value knife? No, but is it bad? No, it is. It is good. It's very, very good. It's not bad at all. And then AUS 10A, underrated. And Cold Steel does a great job with their heat treat. I know they just got bought out. I don't know what the changes are going to be, but I know they're still using the same factory, so I would not expect that to change. AUS 10A is not AUS 8A. It is a lot better steel, and I've been very happy with AUS 10A, and I'll recommend the Airlight all day long. Even at 85 bucks, still great knife. And like I said, if you hate Tantos, it comes in other blade shapes. The Recon 1. I had this recently in my benchmark knives, the knives that define their category. As far as tactical folding pocket knives go, Recon 1 is just one of the absolute best. It does come in multiple blade shapes. I chose this Tanto, and again, it has a pretty good chisel on it. You can see the kind of multi-grind. Actually, probably shows a little bit better with this coated blade. This one doesn't get a ton of pocket time, but I still really like it. And about 100 bucks, they're very reasonably priced. This S35 VN, it's a little bit better steel than you're seeing on the Airlight. Ergos are awesome. And man, I'm sorry. You want to have a scary looking knife. Can you do any worse than a blacked out Tanto? Yeah, I mean, or can you do any better? I'm sorry. Can you do any better than a blacked out Tanto? No, you can't do any better than a blacked out Tanto. This is an evil looking knife, absolutely for sure. If you're going to carry it and deploy it in that sort of tactically sort of role, yeah, blacked out Tanto is gonna make somebody think for a second, absolutely for sure. And again, still a great scraping tip on there. And it's, not hard at all to go wrong in that price. 99 bucks all day long. Again, simple, triad lock and 2 slabs of G10, but that's all you need. Love the Recon 1 a whole lot. Now we're going to move on to a slew of Microtechs. So this is going to be a super long update. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. So we're not going to have a huge long collection update here, but I mostly wanted to post this just for discussion, for everybody to talk. But Microtechs, I have a few. So first up will be, I got to bring this one out first. You could tell what it was just by hearing it. And if you caught a glimpse of that blade, just hearing it. Yeah, it's my SOCOM Elite. Nothing sounds like that. This is one I really, really wanted, the Tanto. I was loaned one from Metal Complex that was a drop point. Same configuration as this, just the black with the stonewash blade, but a drop point. I liked it a lot, but I knew when I got my own, I really wanted the Tanto, and yeah, I hunted for one of these for 14 months before I found the one exactly that I wanted. great knife. Not as expensive as you'd think. They're not inexpensive, but, you know, in that 300-ish kind of range. This is the one I didn't bother to look up the price of before I came on here. But I know it's somewhere in that 250 to 300 range. Very grippy texture on the handles, which works great. It still slides in out of the pocket okay. It is tip down only, which is the only tip down knife that I own that I can think of off the top of my head anyway. But great looking Tanto on the subject. This is just awesome looking, and I wanted it because I just thought it fit. Again, this is a very tactically kind of knife, and again, the Tanto traditionally designed for close quarters fighting. It fits the personality of the knife, so, you know, that's part of the reason why I wanted it. But it's also just great ergos, and this is not that horrible of a knife to carry. The tip down's a bit odd, takes a bit to get used to, but I do kind of get why they did it. For more tactically kind of purposes, tip down is not the worst idea in the world, and the action on it is just stupid. Just stupid. Oh my God, that sound. Every time. I interrupt myself all the time with this knife when I flick it open. Just that sound and that action. And an awesome looking Tanto. Just a really good looking one. Next up, this one I didn't seek out in the Tanto, but that's what comes on the Bounty Hunter version of the UTX 85. So I really wanted a UTX 85. Well, I had a UTX 85. I wanted a Bounty Hunter. Thought I'd combine the two. It was a Tanto as well, so great. Bounty Hunter, if you don't know why it's called that, it is mostly, I would assume, to avoid Disney copyrights, because it's clearly a certain person whose backpack's got jets that it is definitely meant to mimic, who is a renowned bounty hunter in a galaxy long ago, far away. Awesome looking knife. It's one of the only green knives that I own. I should have pulled this out on one of my St. Patrick's Day pictures. I just didn't even think about it, because I just don't think about it as looking green. Even though I don't like green, so I just don't think about being green. I just think about it as being Star Wars. So that's why. Oh, I said the words. Oh no, sorry if you get in trouble. But this one's really well broken in. Action on it's very good. But again, the OTF Tanto blade, that design that Microtech uses, is really nice looking. This is the apocalyptic blade finish. I don't remember what the steel on this one is. It's not marked. It isn't marked on some of these. I think this one is 204p. It's either 204p or M390. But a little less than 300. The Bounty Hunters, they don't charge a lot extra for it. They're just wow hard to get. But they do come out often. It's just when they do, they're gone, you know, like that. And then you just got to wait, be patient. They'll come out with more. They always do. It kind of floats through the line, and then they come out with more. Like they just did the Exo set in the Bounty Hunters. I think some of those are still available. I'd imagine probably late this year, early next year, they'll start over again, you know, with the Ultra Tech and the whatever, and go down through the line and do more of the Bounty Hunters. But until Disney decides to finally say enough of that, which I can't believe they haven't yet, but because they're some fairly litigious people. But love the UTX 85, and the Bounty Hunter is cool, but I just mostly really like this blade. Which brings me to another OTF Microtech. So this one is an Ultra Tech, just a basic Ultra Tech with the Tanto, obviously, stonewash. Did not intend to really wind up carrying this as much as I have. I honestly got it for size comparisons, because I've been doing more automatics, and the Ultra Tech is kind of a benchmark, you know, of the OTF world. And I thought it'd be a really good idea to have an Ultra Tech around for size comparisons, if nothing else. But I have become very enamored with this thing. Got the Tanto because, like I said, lately, if that's an option, that's one that I take. So I wanted a very plain looking one, but I didn't want the drop point blade. I wanted to get slightly different than everybody else's anyway. So I got the Tanto. So I got this is like the second most common Ultra Tech ever. But I really enjoy carrying this thing. Size is great. The slimness is great. Even though it's slim, the ergos are excellent. Thumb lands exactly where I want it to. And again, I find it very good, very easy to choke up, you know, open in packages and stuff like that. You can kind of almost make it a little safety razor. I don't know, maybe this is really stupid, but it works really well for me. I hope it works well for everybody else. Nobody cuts their fingers. But I like using them like this to open packages and make sure that I don't cut through and kind of else. I just gotta Grail watch today. I was really paranoid about damaging the package, and I opened it up, which is this, by the way. Not horribly expensive, but still super cool. Let's see. All metal G-Shock. Sorry, I had to brag about that just for 1 second. I've been wanting one of these forever, so I'm very proud of it, and I just got it today. But yeah, for opening packages that you care about, I still think they're great. And this has become one of my favorite knives, one of my most carried. I think this is March of 2021. I'm pretty darn sure when I do my most carried March of 2021, this is going to be on there. And I just thought I was getting it for size comparison, but no, I really like it. Now, in the crazier end of the spectrum, for Microtech makes a different Tanto blade, and that would be the Hellhound. This is a Combat Troodon Hellhound. This is a signature edition with the distressed gray handles. I didn't mess this up. It came this way. It's supposed to look like that. Again, the apocalyptic finish on the blade with part satin. Now, not much of a chisel tip on this one. You can see it's kind of rounded off, but still definitely what you would call a Tanto. But man, is that an evil looking blade. That is just an evil sucker. This is not inexpensive. This one was $680 some dollars. I think $685, something like that. But ironically, of all my Microtechs out of the box, easiest action. It's the biggest, craziest, scariest one. They've all kind of evened out to be about the same. But yeah, out of the box, this had easier action than my little tiny UTX 70 does. So, yeah, odd, but a fact. And it makes a good ting. The other Microtechs I don't ting when you close them. I don't know, I like that little ting sound. But super comfortable in the hand, obviously, because it's very large. And I really do like the Hellhound blade. These holes, yeah. Do you want to cut through cheese with it? No. It's going to all wind up inside your knife. It's not meant for, you're not going to want to skin an animal with it. Your knife is going to wind up full of whatever is in those holes. But still, it's undeniably cool the way it looks. And I like it a lot. Now, this is the answer to a question. This is the last one I got asked the other day in one of the comments. What is your prettiest knife? Because in an update, I said, what's the ugly? I mentioned this is the ugliest knife I own. Somebody said, what's the prettiest knife you own? They also asked who my favorite child was. It's the girl. Of course it's the girl. But what is my prettiest knife? I would say it's this one. And this is a Chris Reeves Incosi Tanto with the natural micarta inlays. And the way they do a Tanto is just so pretty. Very kind of similar to the Airlight. Bring that back out again. The Airlight does remind me of it a little bit. Just the way they do it in kind of a similar way. Like much more chisel-y kind of tip on there. But I don't know. The Chris Reeves just takes it to another level. And those micarta inlays. Chris Reeves does a great Tanto. And this is definitely my favorite Chris Reeves. And actually, I just a while ago did there can be only one knife to keep forever. And I do those actual live. I decide as I'm going through. And this is the one I chose at the end of the video, which surprised me as well. I like Chris Reeves, but I thought it would be a hinderer, but it isn't. It was this. And part of it is because that Tanto blade. I think if I could have only one, it would be a Tanto, which is weird because that is not at all what I thought a few years ago, but fantastic knife. Again, not inexpensive. This one was like $550 with the inlays, but $425, $450 for a more standard finished one. But yeah, it's got some scratches on it. It gets carried a lot, but it still looks pretty. And yeah, love it. So that is kind of my collection update. And again, a little discussion about Tanto blades and why I like them. Comment down below if you agree and you like them, or if you don't and why you don't. Yeah, I think this would be a fun little discussion, if nothing else, with a little eye candy afterwards. That was kind of the purpose of it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.